Welcome to the LongBox Paradox, episode 49, and got some quick picks this week, mostly number ones. Starting out right off the bat, we've got from Image Comics, Family Tree by Jeff Lemire and Phil Hester. The cover was kind of interesting, looking at it, and Jeff Lemire, a lot of his stuff's a little weird. This kind of is in his wheelhouse of weird and very, very slow moving. We starts out in a small town and kind of just showing, I guess, just small town America. We have Loretta, and she works at a grocery store, and put it bluntly, she's a bitch. Her husband's gone. She's a single mother taking care of two kids. One kid is a headache and always in trouble. Town's got a little bit of like Twin Peaks weird shit going on. Her son's gotten caught for having pot. She's called to the school. She has to get her daughter. Daughter's complaining that she's got a rash, and it's like this weird looking thing on her arm. And at the school, there's a bit of a meltdown between her and the principal. And while they're there, this strange old man goes up to her daughter in the waiting room and gives her something to help. And from then on, basically the rash becomes worse. Like, it almost looks like there's roots growing up her arm. There's a branch coming out of her back. And they're going to the hospital, and these freaks crash the car. And we find out who the old man is who talked to the daughter earlier. Again, very slow moving. I don't love it, but I'm kind of curious to see where it's going. I kind of wish they gave a little bit more info of what was going on, but this was a book where it's really hard to root for any of these characters. It really is. They're kind of unlikable. I mean, not the little daughter. Like, we don't get really enough from her, but Loretta and her son Josh are just kind of hard to really root for or get any empathy for. I'm going to give this a 6. I'll probably pick up the second issue just to see if it goes, but this is moving at that Gideon Falls snail pace that is kind of off-putting, and maybe it's on purpose to kind of make you uncomfortable. I wish I could like this a little bit more. Nothing wrong with Phil Hester's art. Phil Hester, his art takes a little getting used to, but it moves the story rather well. Unfortunately, there's not a lot going on, so he had to kind of carry a lot of the weight. Going to move on from here to, from Marvel Comics, Fallen Angels by Bryan Edward Hill and art by Kudranski. Szymon Kudranski. Ashley Witter did the cover, the A cover. I've been in and out of X-Men for a while. The Dawn of X has kind of brought me back. And this book in particular focuses on what was Quenon, she went by Revenge, Psylocke. She's going by Psylocke now. And it has Cable, X-23, Mr. Sinister, Magneto, and Captain Britain, a.k.a. Betsy Braddock. And there has been this murder on a train. A little bit of like what's going on. She gets basically this psychic impression as she's meditating to what's going on. She goes to see Magneto. He tells her no. She can't leave Krakoa after what happened to Charles, but tells her to go see Mr. Sinister. There's a back and forth, so she decides to go see X-23 and Cable, who's now young, and I can't remember why exactly he's young now. Anyway, gets a group together to go to investigate this. We find out that she had a daughter, and there's really not a lot of action that had in this book. I like Bryan Edward Hill's writing. This kind of was clunky to me. Made X-23 rather unlikable also. They're going back to that writing of her. Which I wanted a little bit more out of this. Again, and this young Cable's kind of a doofus too. I just wish there was more to like about this. I was actually looking forward to this, especially the Ashley Witter cover really brought me in on it. This out of the X title re-releases, where I didn't think there was going to be one I liked less than Excalibur, and this one was it. I'm going to give it a 5. And I'm going to check out the next issue. These clunky first issues sometimes can make or break a book, and this one, it has me teetering. Again, the great Ashley Witter cover. So we're going to move on from here to Far Sector. It's part of the Young Animal imprint, written by N.K. Jemisin and art by Jamal Campbell. Jamal Campbell, his art in this one lets him expand a little bit more with doing this universe. Most of the book revolves around being a murder mystery and trying to solve it. They are on this world called the World Undying, and the City Enduring, excuse me. And it's got its own kind of weird dome over it that it changes how it looks. We meet our Green Lantern Mullen, and it throws so many new characters at you and races, and the way explaining something, like there's one race, they're called the AT-AT. I know, it's just, someone's a Star Wars fan. And we have Peacekeeper Susan. Really, Jamal Campbell's art, it just keeps this book moving. It's beautiful. And as the book goes on, the murder mystery keeps unfolding a little bit more, to the point where the suspect they're going to see is just in its cell murdered. I actually really like this. I have heard rumor that this Lantern Mullen, there's something going on in DC where they're going to kind of reset and relaunch everything, change. Like I've heard, was it Lucas Fox is gonna be Batman, and just changing up all of these characters. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, but I mean, you can kind of do it with Hal, since Hal's now a Dark Star. I'm really intrigued with this universe. I'm liking what I saw, and again, Jamal Campbell's art's just beautiful. Like, if anything else from Naomi, I enjoyed finding his artwork. Also, supposedly this book has started selling for $10 online. I had said in my preview video I did how I thought this was going to be one to kind of sit on for a bit as I guess a long-term hold. Might not be as long-term as I thought. Again, kind of like with Naomi, where it took about a month or two for people to catch on. Looks like people are jumping on this one a lot quicker. I really liked it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Pick it up if you can. I really like the A cover and the C by McKelvey. And while we're on the subject of DC Comics, I read Event Leviathan, number 6. Because they're finally revealing who Leviathan is. And they did the reveal. I'm not going to spoil it. But literally, it's someone no one gives a shit about, no one's thought about. And issue 5 kind of led you to knowing it was a Manhunter. So I guess that's my mild spoiler. It's a Manhunter. it just kind of just fell flat. And I really enjoyed like the first two to three issues of this, and just 4 and 5 just clunked, and 6 just exposition after exposition just to get to this. Like, it wasn't rotten, it just was anticlimactic. So I'll give it a 6.5. It may read better as a trade, maybe. I don't think so, because no matter what, you're gonna get to that end and be like, have that Curb Your Enthusiasm, like, I wish there was something better to say about it, but there really isn't. Like, it just hits, and then you just go, okay, like, who cares? That's the big reveal. Woo. A little disappointed. Bendis just really just did not stick that landing on that. Not one bit. From Marvel Comics, we have a new #1, Morbius the Living Vampire. I kind of like this. He is fighting the Melter at the beginning. Melter has a warehouse there, and he's doing some chemistry, and he's got his flunkies there, and all of a sudden, they're screaming, and his flunkies are running away, saying there's a monster. And we see in the background, someone's back getting slashed, a jaw with blood dripping down it. And it is Morbius chasing them down, trying to get them out of town. I was kind of impressed with the art here by Marcello Ferreira. It was something I wasn't expecting. The writing was not bad, not great. It was decent enough. The B cover for this by Kyle Hotz, for me, was the one to pick up. Hotz is one of those guys that I don't think he gets the credit he's due. Like, he's been around for a long time, and I've actually seen growth in his art, especially his covers lately. And we have Morbius going home. Like, he stole stuff from the lab to work on. He's endlessly working on a cure for himself. And like everything else with him, constantly, he screws up. And we see kind of the fallout from it. We're also introduced to someone shows up at the Melter's warehouse, and you can kind of see their back. They have a cape, a sword, and they're hunting Michael Morbius and wanting to kill him. And it kind of ends shortly after that of seeing, Morbius mutates himself. Decent first issue. I love horror books, and this seems to be leaning a little bit more into the horror element than the anti-hero. I give it a 6 out of 10. Like, it wasn't anything like I'm going crazy about, but it was okay. Like, it definitely left you just enough to make you want to check out the next issue. One issue that was coming out this week that I did not get a chance to do, I'll probably just post a review it on my Instagram. Punisher Soviet. Garth Ennis is back writing Punisher, and that is always a must-read because Garth will take you down a journey you never knew you wanted to be on. Just fantastic. I can't wait to read it. There's a couple other books also that came out, like Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis and Bryan Hitch. I haven't gotten to yet, but I want to make sure I got this recorded in a timely manner since I took last week off because of illness. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining me, watching. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what books you're reading, what you thought of these books I'm talking about. And once again, on November 24th at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, going to be doing a live stream for my Ink Panels graphic novel book club with D Comic Queen from Instagram and YouTube to talk about Identity Crisis by Brad Meltzer and Rags Morales. Gonna be a good time, I hope. So thank you. Happy hunting today, and see you next week. Bye.